All right, I'd like to start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Exhortation, Encouragement, and Motivation. And pretty much, these are things that are needed in the truth from time to time. You have admonishment, you have rebuke, you have sharp rebukes, and anything that you deal with, you have to have something that's called discipline, and discipline, is not the easiest thing to deal with. All right. Discipline takes patience, takes endurance, takes hardships, it takes will, pretty much, to be able to be disciplined. That's why you have disciple. A disciple is someone that's being taught by a master, and the master is not always the kindest or the most nicest, because not that they don't want to be, but it's that they're looking out for the growth and betterment of the pupil that they're teaching. So it's going to be rough at times until that pupil reaches to a certain stage, where, the pupil is good. Then, the rigorous training doesn't have to be as rigorous. And then you go to the next level, So the word discipline, they have different ones here. It says a system of rules of conduct or method of practice, the trait of being well behaved. This is the point here: training to improve strength or self-control. And that's pretty much it. And that's why a lot of times you hear us saying that brothers don't really understand what they're involved in, because they've never really, they've never really sat down to take account of what they're really involved in, and you see it right now with what's going on. If the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is dealing with you, you're going to move in the proper direction. You're going to grow. Hey, the scriptures say a righteous man falleth 7 times and get it back up. So there's going to be, you're going to have your ups and downs, but for the most part, you're going to be on the straight and narrow, so to speak. And that's one serious fault, one serious lack that Jake has. They have a lack of discipline. A lack of discipline is not good, because a lack of discipline, brings forth, it causes your whole world pretty much to cave in. So we have something now called right now, as the title of the lesson, Exhortation, Encouragement, and Motivation. So there was a precept that came to mind that I was going to start off with, but it kind of left my mind for right now, for the moment. So if it doesn't come back, then I have a couple of scriptures that I put together. Last night I typed in the word encourage, and I ran across this one story dealing with the word encourage that I thought was very important to go into, because it's truth. Yes, you have to be hard, but then there's times that you have to encourage, you have to exhort, and exhortation is a skill. That's why you have a lot of individuals out there, that get paid to give motivational speeches, because not everyone is able to self-motivate, and that is a real gift, to be able to give a motivational speech, to get someone, stirred up to do something. So the word motivation, I looked it up. It says the psychological feature that arouses an organism to action towards a desired goal. And what is the desired goal? The kingdom. That's why Yahweh said, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. Now let's go real quick to Philippians, the basic fundamental scripture, basic building block fundamental scripture that gives us certain keys in the knowledge of how to spiritually build our inner man. Philippians 2:12, wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. And that's the problem too. A lot of times you get into this thing where you have individuals out there that they only show dedication and motivation and being in the spirit when they're being seen. When the elders are looking at you, or your camp leaders looking at you, or someone that's for lack of better words, in charge over you, or you're among the body, that's when you show the motivation. But then when you're not around brothers, you're not doing that. So you have to do it not just in presence, but also in absence. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember that Yahweh B'Shem Shai is seeing everything that's going on. Whether we see it or not, it doesn't. We're not the Most High. We're not Yahweh Shai. We don't hold the key to everyone's salvation. All we have is, the instructions that were given to us, that we're passing on to others, that may be a part of the elect, so that the Lord can seal brothers and sisters to get to the kingdom of heaven. And that's the ultimate goal. So you have to be able to keep this same energy, whether you are in front of brothers or not, or by yourself. Because always keep in mind, the Lord is always watching. The angels are always watching. And everything you do is seen. It doesn't go unnoticed. But the scriptures speak about those that only fear the eyes of men, because when they're by themselves, they don't think that the Most High can see. The scriptures say that darkness is nothing to the Lord. He dwells in deep darkness. And he can see right through everything. So going on, the main point here is work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, because that's the ultimate goal. So that's why we read the word motivation, and it said the psychological feature that arouses an organism to action toward a desired goal. And that's the thing. You have to have, inspiration from Yahweh B'Shem Shai. John 6:44. You have to have, motivation. You have to be drawn by Yahweh B'Shem Shai, and you have to have teachers to teach you. Just like we were taught, just like the men that were before us were taught. And that scriptures say, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. So you have to have the ability to be able to follow instruction. And when you have that ability that's given to us by Yahweh B'Shem Shai, then you are able to formulate your path, because when you come into this, when the Lord brings anyone into this truth, there is a format. There is a path that you have to walk. You can't just come up here and try to, wing it and do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. It doesn't work that way. This is not your program. And this is why you have a lot of camps out there that are popping out of nowhere, because they watch all the different camps, took everything that they liked from each one and mingled it all into one. That's why they're a big conglomeration of confusion. You have, camps out there that got children, little boys speaking, at the camps. You have camps out there that bring their wives, their children, like it's a cookout. There's danger out there. Them spirits and demons are active out there. A lot of you guys that come into Israel, you still have that family matters, that I hate to say it this way, but it's true, that bugle boy, spirit, that American bugle boy spirit. I hate to say that, but it's true. You have that mentality. You've never let go of that Western mentality. You never let go of that old man. You still try to bring the world values into the truth. That's not going to work. I was listening to a couple of motivational speeches earlier, and pretty much everyone was really pretty much saying the same thing. As when you're trying to reach a desired goal, you have to you know, you have to prepare your mind for losses. Because a person's character is not determined, you know, how he reacts when things are prosperous, but how he reacts in the midst of adversity. That's what really determines a person's character. Like, what are you going to do when you face with these situations? And that's, you know, that's a heavy thing. Because not very many people are able to maneuver through afflictions, you know, through these trials and tribulations. It's not an easy thing. So there has to be, you know, an inspiration, a signal from the heavens, from Yahweh Bashim Shai, to be able to give us the inspiration, motivation, the energy, and ability to do these things, you know. But we have to be taught, we have to be trained, we have to be instructed, and we have to be able to follow instructions, because the scriptures say, you know, rebuke a wise man and he will love thee. Why? You'd be like, damn, man, you mean to tell me that somebody will curse you out hardcore and you still will love that person? Yeah, because the cursing out is not for their own benefit and pleasure, you know, because they just getting off, but it's because you're going the wrong way, and they're showing that zeal, that jealousy, because they don't want you to be all messed up. They want you to do better. So you will love that person because you know that this person is not just going to let me just go walk off a cliff if I'm walking off of a cliff. But the mindset in the Western world, here in America, Babylon the Great, is if you curse somebody out, that you hate them. That's why we constantly being called haters, and, you know, we hate our brothers, and, you know, whatever. I'm going to give you a view of the park. You know, let me know if the wind is too much. Let me know. I'll put on the Martian headset. I got them here, lock, rock, and ready. You know, lock, cock, and ready to rock. So, if it's too much wind, let me know, and I'll plug them in. You know, I don't like wearing them, but I do it when it's too windy, because, you know, it's not about, you know, showing the scenery. It's about what the message is about. So let me give you a view, and then all right, cool. All right, so let's read this again. Motivation, a psychological feature that arouses an organism to action towards a desired goal. The reason for the action, that which gives purpose and direction to behavior. Right. And another word for that is what? Exhortation. You know? And that's pretty much, that's a perfect definition right there. Now let's look up the word exhortation, or let's look up the word exhort. It says exhort, spur on or encourage, especially by cheers and shouts, right? And those are those motivational speeches that are given. You hear Yahweh Shai speak about it, you hear the apostles, you know, Apostle Paul was very good for that. He told the the different churches he went to about his tribulations and his trials and things that he went through for the word's sake, so that it could encourage them to fight, you know, when things got hard, to let them know that they weren't, you know, alone. You know? Let's go real quick to the book of 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4, I believe it is. And I'll start at 1. I believe this is it. Let me make sure. Just bear with me. Now this ain't really the one. This is good, but this ain't really the one. Let's try the 5th chapter. Yeah, this is it. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, that's how we resist, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Right. So all the brothers are going through the same exact things. You know, suffering similar things. Maybe not exactly like you, but there's similar things. And the Lord said that he would not put more on man than he is able to. You know, so you're going to go through whatever afflictions and whatever things that each individual goes through is sufficient for that man. Another man may look at your situation and be like, damn, how the hell do you deal with that? Well, because the spirit that's in that man was built to deal with that. Another brother might look at your situation and say, man, that's nothing, that's a breeze. I could, you know, I could walk on my hands and go through that. But that's sufficient for that man. You know, every brother is not the same. That's what the scriptures say, ye that are strong bear the infirmities of the weak. Right? So that was it on that. So now, let's go through a few of these precepts. Oh, matter of fact, let me get the other precept. Romans 11. You know, I mentioned about, you know, going through, the Apostle Paul mentioned certain things that he was going through to encourage brothers not to faint when they were going through certain things. Yahushua even said that, you know. I believe that was in St. John, the 16th chapter. He told them that what they were going to go through. That when they went through them, they wouldn't be surprised and amazed that these things were happening. He told them what they were going to go through for because of suffering for this word. Romans 11, and I'll start at 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? The Most High forbid. That's dealing with the ones that knew that they were Jews. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, which are the Israelite foreigners. What? For to provoke them to jealousy, so that they can get mad and jealous and show that zeal to come back to the Father. And the Apostle Paul did that, right? He said, which first and foremost was prophecy, but also says that now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, meaning this knowledge being coming to the Israelite foreigners, the Gentiles, Israelite foreigners, and the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles, Israelite foreigners, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you, Gentiles, Israelite foreigners, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. Right, and that's why he was doing that, because that's what he was set up to do, to teach the Israelite foreigners. You know? So he pretty much was invoking that power that the Lord gave him. Then it says, if by any means I might provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. Right, because that provoking, that encouragement, you know, that stirring up of somebody, you know, and then whatever is to be, because at the end of the day, that person is either going to get involved, do it, or not. It depends on the how strong the signal is from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, Paul planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase. See? So the Lord got to give the increase. So now let's go from there to the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, and 1. And of course, my Bible is ripped at that point. That one piece is ripped off. I don't know if I stuck it in here. But anyways, I got my other phone. Let me just pull that up real quick. Just bear with me. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and 1. It says, furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, and exhort you by the Lord Yahushai, that as you have received of us how you ought to walk and to please the Most High, so you would abound more and more. And there's a lot said just in that verse alone. Read it again. Furthermore, then we beseech you, we're begging you, brethren, and exhort you by the Lord Yahushai, because we're here in the stead of Yahushai. His Spirit is here, and His Spirit is in us to do these things, right? That as you have received of us how you ought to walk and to please the Most High, so you would abound more and more, right? To increase more and more, you know? So that's what the prophets are set up to do. The teachers are set up to do. The apostles are set up to do, you know, to encourage brothers to continue. But it's a constant growth, because you can't come into this thing and be stagnant. A stagnant mindset is not going to work. Anything that's stagnant is not good. It's dead. It's in a dead state. You don't want to be in a dead state. You want to be in a living state. You want to grow. You want to be that salt, that savory, that when you add it to the food, you know, it gives it life. It gives it taste. It gives it meaning. You know? You don't want to be that dead, you know, monotone. There's no excitement in the person's voice. There's no excitement in their actions or their movements. They're just, you know, like Esau, when he goes up there, he gives us whatever, a presentation, and they're all stiff and dry, and people are falling asleep. You know, they're not interested because the guy has no flavor. The Lord gave us flavor as Israelites. You know, and that flavor is to be used to motivate, to exhort, as the scriptures say. Now let's go to the next chapter over, 1 Thessalonians 5 and 14, and it says, now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. Right. And that's what you're supposed to do. Exhort as a teacher, you know, and faith is something that's built. If you have faith, it'll build. It's not something that you could purchase. It's something that's given by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's a gift. But that faith can be built upon, no matter how small the faith may be, as long as there's some type of faith there. Let me just get that real quick. Let me go to 1 Thessalonians 5:14. I want to get the word 1 Thessalonians 1. Nope, not 1. 5. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 14. Let's look up the word exhort. And the word exhort is parakaleo, to call to one side, call for, summon. Right, because what's happening? There's a great calling happening, a great calling going on, and there is, you know, an announcement going on right now, a proclamation or an announcement going on right now that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that Yahweh is ready to send His Son Yahushai to the earth to get His elect, to set up the kingdom of heaven and to destroy these devils, right? These other nations. So the Lord set up the church, which are the Israelites, the men of the men of Israel that make up the building, and and they go out on the streets as commanded to what? To teach the word. So when we go out on the streets to teach the word, that's the calling. That's how the calling is being done. That's why I said that your ear shall hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk ye in it when you turn to the left, when you turn to the right. Now the word church itself comes from the word, I believe it's the word is ecclesia. The Latin is ecclesia. Ek is out and ecclesia is to call. So to call out, that's what the Lord told you through the mouth of the Apostle Paul. He said that it pleased the Lord through the foolishness of preaching to save those that believe, because this is how the calling is going out. Through the different videos, through the brothers out in the streets, on the street corners teaching, you know, beseeching, telling, warning of things to come. And whether you hear or forbid, that has no consequence on the men that are teaching. Because if you hear and you come into it, beautiful, that's more fruit. But if you don't, guess what? You're going to be destroyed. But those men that are teaching won't lose their reward, because they're doing what the Lord said. That's why Yahweh said, blessed is that servant whom when the Lord cometh shall find so doing. Doing what? Doing the work that was left him to do in the upkeep of the house of the Lord, the spiritual building, the spiritual church. It says to address, speak to, see, call to, call upon, which may be done in the way of exhortation, entreaty, comfort, instruction, etc. To admonish, exhort. And we read the word exhort in the common dictionary. And the word exhort in the common dictionary is spur on or encourage, especially by cheers and shouts. Right, force or impel in an indicated direction. Right, because the exhortation, the rebukes, all that is to force, brothers out there that are doing this work, this ministry, and the few sisters that watch, to go in the proper direction. That's why the scriptures speak about constant examination, to see if we're in the faith or not. Because sometimes we may have to redirect, ourselves in the spirit. And that's why there's constant cursing out, constant, having to have house cleanings. Because, nobody want no dust bunny in the spirit next to him. You want brothers that are on fire, that'll help spark your spirit even more. The scriptures say iron sharpeneth iron. You don't need no guys that are dust bunnies in the spirit just hanging around waiting to be swept up. You want something that's going to stimulate. Yahweh Shai said, he said that there, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Action. You want brothers that are about action, brothers that are on fire, because that spirit is contagious. That's why sometimes you watch a brother's video and you might be down and out. Hey, we're in hell. You're in hell and you don't even know it. Inside joke, but we're in hell, man. And sometimes that demonic depressive spirit comes on all of us. But then sometimes you might watch a video of brothers getting down, getting into it, and that motivation, that zeal, that fire, that passion, causes all of that other bullshit to just go out the window. Next thing you know, you're doing a video, you're all in the spirit. Beautiful. And that's what the exhortations are about. Provoking. Matter of fact, let me get that. I love that. That's one of my favoriteest. One of my favoriteest scriptures. I don't care if it's not a word. Kiss my ass. I say it's a word. Favoriteest. If you don't like it, hey, tough. Let's go to Hebrews. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10. And the book of Hebrews is my favorite book. This is my favorite book in the whole. I mean, I love all the scriptures, but this is like one of my most favorite books. My favoriteest books. I remember years ago, I was intrigued by this book, especially the 7th chapter, and I being, a neophyte, I was newly in the faith, so I really didn't know what it meant, even though I read it. And I was trying to get this one individual to break it down. And as he was, because I'm getting happy, I said, yeah, he's finally going to get the answer. And as he's breaking it down, I'm like, in my spirit, I didn't know the breakdown, but in my spirit, I said, nah, that ain't the breakdown. That's nah. I know I don't know it, but that right there, no, that's not the breakdown. And when I heard Elder Pastor Hart break it down, and then I was like, oh shit. I said, that's the, and it automatically clicked, so, just to tell you a little, I've told the story before. Hebrews chapter 10, and 23. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised, right? And we know that Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, whatever he said he's going to do it, regardless, right? But here's the point. And let us consider one another. So we have to consider one another, right? You might see a brother, maybe faltering, or you might see a brother that might be a little down, or you might see a brother that might be straying off a little bit or getting too much into something. And then it says, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. When you provoke somebody, it's not always a good feeling. When we go to the word provoke, let's go to it. And to provoke. The word provoke is paraxusmos. Paraxusmos. It says an excitement, right? Irritation. So sometimes it could be irritating, because we're in the flesh, and the flesh is constantly fighting against the spirit. So when you're in the flesh and you're being carnal, and a brother's exhorting you, and the brother's provoking you, unto goodness, it's an irritation. But it's a good irritation, because once you get past that emotional, that emotional bag of wind, or whatever you want to call it, then comes the clarity. That's why we tell brothers you can't get emotional on this thing, because we all have emotions. We all get emotional. We've all been brought up in this Western world. So that demon jumps on all of us. But at the end of the day, we can't let that cloud our judgment. And that's why we pray to Yahweh B'Shem El Shai to remove them spirits from us, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, we know the right way to go. So when you see, a brother might be straying off a little bit, or he might be getting too much into something more than the truth, and you rebuke him, or you exhort him, or you say, you know what, brother, we should do a lesson, and what that does, it irritates him, and then eventually it's either two things. It's either going to break the individual, or it's going to get him out of that spirit. So we're supposed to provoke one another, even if you might be, might not, you might not really be in the spirit. But then you see a brother's video, or a brother come around, you start talking about the scriptures, or start getting into it, and then that spirit is infectious. Next thing you know, you're all in the spirit, and you're happy that the brother came around and got you motivated, because you was out of the spirit. But now when you're back in the spirit, it's joy, it's beautiful, it's loveliness, There's no want, them demons are gone because of the spirit. And it's a constant battle. All right? So let me see if there's more on that. It says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. Yeah, because that's another thing. When brothers come together, there's a synergy there. When you stay away too much and you don't come around brothers, them demons tend to work on you more. So it's good to come around brothers from time to time, and not to be by yourself all the time. Now there's times when you want to be by yourself. You have brothers that are loners. You have brothers that like I'll speak for myself. I mean, I like to be a loner. I don't consider myself a loner, but I am, alone a lot of times, by choice, but then there's times when I want to be around brothers. So I'll hit a brother up, we might go get something to eat or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, I'm by myself most of the week. But then there's times when I want to be around brothers. So I'm like a loner, but then I'm not fully, because I like to be around brothers. Now you have some brothers that they can be alone all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there has to come a point where you have to come around the brotherhood. because that synergy, you know. And then when brothers are there, what did Yahushua say? Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. You know, that's also a source of plugging back into the power, you know, the power, the energy pack, so to speak. Yeah, man, there's a lot to it. So it says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. I hope I'm making sense. As the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. Yeah. So the closer we getting, the more exhortation should be going out. The more, you know, the more work should be being put in. Because we're getting closer and closer to the Lord coming back. We're getting closer and closer to our Master coming back. So we're supposed to be excited. You know? We're supposed to be, you know, all, you know, the best word is excited, man. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited, man. You know, we're supposed to be excited. You know? It says, this is Hebrews chapter 3, verse 13. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. Yeah. So that's why it's a daily thing, a daily exhortation, daily teachings going on. Because it's very easy to fall in that slump. It's very easy to fall in a stagnant state. It's very easy to veer off. It's very easy to get comfortable. It's very easy. The flesh looks for easy things, comfortable things. But remember this one thing, there is no growth in comfort. There is no growth in comfort. Uncomfortableness, you know, brings forth growth. In anything, look at anything that you've ever done, or anything that can be done. The way you get the most benefit out of something is being in an uncomfortable spot. Anything you do, any discipline you have out there, any sports, anything you do in life, whatever is uncomfortable, and whenever you are uncomfortable, that's a chance for growth. I believe I heard this one Jake say that, you know, at one time. But comfort is not going to bring growth. It's like a couch potato sitting in front of the TV all day, stuffing his face. There's no growth in that. Only growth is going to be in their belly size and their love handles. And eventually, what's that going to bring? Death. Because the guy don't walk, you know, he don't do nothing. He's just sitting on the couch all day stuffing his face with all kind of greasy shit. Comfort foods. Comfort foods are death foods. Comfort equals death. Uncomfortable equals life. As uncomfortable as it may be. And Barakateh Hawbashim El Shai, that scripture came back. Hebrews 12. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, so I want to start off a little bit above that. Now, I'm going to read the point, and then I'm going to jump up a little bit. This is Hebrews 12 and 11. Now, no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. Nevertheless, afterwards, after what? After you go through that uncomfortable spell, it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Not unto them that are in a comfort zone. Unto them that are exercised thereby. You have to go through these things in order to get growth, to gain growth. You know? So when we jump up to the 5th verse, it says, and you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. It says, my son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. You see, if you endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons, right? Because your mind is ready for the discipline. And that only comes if the Lord gives the inspiration. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, right? So if you're a son, if we're sons, we have to be partakers of what? Of the chastening. But if someone doesn't receive the chastening, then are you bastards and not sons? Because why does a father discipline his son? So that they don't end up in jail, they don't end up dead, they don't end up, being this hot lump of shit on the couch. So they don't end up being a waste of life. So that they can make better decisions, so they can be motivated, to teach them how to function in life. The same thing with the truth. You come into the truth, you have spiritual fathers. Spiritual fathers are there what? To show you and guide you in the right direction. Through the discipline. That's why the scriptures say, obey them that have the rule over you. You have guys out there talking about, show me the scriptures where the Lord said to follow any man's orders or something along those lines. Well, the scriptures say, obey them that have the rule over you. Be ye followers of me as I am of Yahushai. And many other scriptures like that. There's teachers that are set up to teach, to guide, to instruct. It says, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Why? Because they were our authority. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? Right. Because being in subjection unto the Father of spirits, which is Yahweh, that brings life. Because obedience brings life, but disobedience brings death. It's the duality of life, as the scriptures speak about. There's a reason why there's something called 360 degrees of knowledge of good and evil. Because you have the right way to do something and the wrong way to do something. The right way leads to life, the wrong way leads to death. Bottom line. It says, for they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, right? After the things on the disciplines that they were accustomed to or they were brought up with. That's why you have Jakes out there that are raising their sons up to be Muslims. Now their sons may be very well disciplined. They might be, very good in business, and they avoid the bullshit of the world, and not getting caught up in selling drugs or anything like that, but they're being led down the wrong path into Islam. And the children are subject to them. Why? Because that's their fathers, that's their authority. It says, let me read that again. For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he, the Most High, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness, right? And that comes through the discipline, to get through to the end. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Look at two examples of two individuals that might have the same goal in mind of working out, doing exercise to better their health and to build muscle and to feel good and to look good. The one dude, he sits on the couch and he says, I'm gonna, you have that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do dude, I'm gonna, yeah, man, I can see myself on the treadmill. I can see myself, doing curls. I can see myself, doing deadlifts and, doing this, that, and the other, working on the legs and the triceps and the biceps, this, that, and the other, going for jogs, and then he's constantly stuffing his face with ice cream, you know, potato chips, you know, mac and cheese, you know, and just cornbread and just having that thought in his mind that one day he gonna get out and do it. But then you have the other guy that he don't just say, he just goes out and do it. He starts running, he starts working out, he starts changing his diet, he starts lifting weights, he starts, you know, doing his thing. After in a matter of about a month, 2 months, you start seeing the difference. The guy that wished with his mind but sat on the couch, he's getting fatter and softer and weaker. And the guy that said that just went into action, he starts looking slimmer. You know, he might not be where he wants to be, but he's putting the action in, the effort in. He's being exercised in what, you know, what's going to make him, you know, better. He's going to be in better health. He's going to be in better shape. And he puts it into actions because he's exercised. So these chastenings that we go through are our exercise, you know, of pretty much being brolic in the spirit to be able to get to the kingdom of heaven. You know, we were speaking to Itazawam yesterday, the young elder Itazawam from Atlanta. You know, he did a lesson last night, you know, be brolic in the spirit. You know, and that's the discipline. But the discipline, you know, you have to put effort into it. And it comes through what? First and foremost, the motivation from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the instruction from your teachers, and then, you know, the inspiration that the Lord will put in each individual man to be able to do. But sometimes you have to pray. Sometimes you have to make a move. No, sometimes, you know, we have to make that first move to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in order for him to move us forward. Let's see if there's any more here. It says, wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees. Yeah, because there's no time to be depressed. You know, even though the demons still mess with us, but there's really no time to be depressed. You know, we're coming to some real serious times. And right now, what's happening is we're going through mental basic training, you know, of these scriptures and of all the things that are coming down the pike. As to where some of these other camps are putting their men to sleep. Like it says in Ezekiel, they didn't build up, you know, the hedge for the day of the Lord, for the things that are coming. So a lot of these camps, they're not mentally prepared for what's about to happen. So they're going to bug out, although they know that they're Israelites. Because their teachers, you know, are nothing but wolves in sheep clothing. And they're leading them down the wrong path. Because mentally they're not preparing them. They're not warning them. They're not exhorting them. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's see what else we got. Let's go to 2 Timothy 4. Second Timothy chapter 4. And we'll start at 1. The point is in verse 2. It says, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahushai, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing, and his kingdom. Right, and that's what we're speaking about. You know, we're ambassadors for Yahushai. It says, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season, when it's hot, when it's cold. You know, when it's nice out and when it's not so nice out. You know, year round, we're supposed to be teaching his word. You have camps out there that take, maybe the summer off, or definitely the winter off. It gets too cold, they're not out there. It gets too hot, they're not out there. You know? Supposed to be out there year round. Now, if it's a monsoon out there, of course you can't go out and speak. You know, if it's a thunderstorm, hurricane, you know, of course you can't speak. You know? But for the most part, you know, you dress appropriately for the weather and go out there and speak and teach. It says, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Because the exhortation is not coming out of the mind of an individual just, because he's just trying to get you to do what he wants you to do. It's coming from a biblical standpoint. It's coming from the scriptures, from the doctrine that we were taught, that our elders were taught, and that we're teaching you. Now let's go from there to Titus 1:9. Holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught. And that's a thing. There's certain individuals that are not holding fast to the faith which they were taught. And what's happening is that they're losing it because, of course, they were men crept in unawares. And that's why it's important to know what you're involved in and to hold on to the things that you're involved in. And to understand and be assured and know what you're learning and who you're learning it from. Because this knowledge that you're learning is going to be the thing that's going to help through these turbulent times that are coming. It's going to be the anchor that keeps your ship in place when the waters start getting, when they start getting troubled. All right, so it says that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayer. And that's why a lot of camps out there hate Great Millstone, because Great Millstone, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, is a constant, rebuking and exhortation, more so rebuking and admonishing and warning. And when camps go off, we do videos to correct it, but they don't take heed. And that's why they say that we hate, because really they're the ones that hate. Really, when these different camps say that we hating, really is that they're hating, but that's the way that they cover up their hate, by saying that we're the haters. Because if they really were about the truth, they would consider these things and not dismiss them. Because what we're teaching you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai is what's going to help keep you stable in these times that are coming. And we keep saying it. Here it is. What is today? It's June 28th, 2022, the year of Yahweh Shem Shai turning up. And we're about to enter in to July. People out there spending money on food and all kind of, getting ready for this 4th of July weekend, and not even considering of the shortages, hard times that are coming, possible blackouts, grids purposely, being broke down. They're not considering these things. But the Spirit has had us, when nothing was happening, the Spirit has had us warning about these things, speaking about these things, talking about these things. And now that they're happening and we're talking about them, instead of people taking it into consideration, well, after all these years, this camp and that camp, they were talking shit about Great Millstone. They were making fun of them because of the concentration camps and the detention centers and the MO to the TB being the C to the H to the I to the P and this, that, and the other. But when I'm looking around, I'm seeing what they're saying, what they were saying and prophesying from the scriptures is all coming to pass. But they don't consider that. Because like the scriptures say, my people do not consider. They don't consider the Lord speaking. Because they're looking at a man. And when that man is cursing you out and getting down on you because you're going off, then there's an extreme hate that comes with that. That's why I said they hate him that rebuketh in the gate. And that hate turns into, disrespect and not even giving heed. Even though you might see, yeah, he's right, but fuck him. Yeah, nah, fuck that. That's that, hey, I gotta say, that's that black woman spirit. That's who you had that woman, which I saw the video, but the elder pastor put up the full video, where this Jake, as as they say, Jake, the black man in the hood, and the other, the other tribes, but especially Jake, they say out there, they don't take care of their children, right? But then here it is, this man goes out of his way to go get his son some food, and then this bitch said, yeah, I'm gonna put him on blast, however the hell she said it. And pretty much she's cursing this man out because he's not bringing food to her other 3 children, which are not his children. And this bitch is not even fucking sound in mind enough to consider that. Well, yeah, he's right. Yeah, they ain't his children. He really, because he even asked her, yo, where their fathers at? He's only concerned with his son. You don't know that man's status. You don't know that man's condition. You don't know if he's on a budget. And then to show you how evil this bitch is. I know that brother Howard is cracking up. To show you how evil this bitch is, she said, give it to me. She took the food and threw the fucking soda on the ground and threw the fucking sandwich on the ground. So pretty much she said, fuck it. Ain't nobody gonna eat. This how demented. And then now she feels good. But then I bet you maybe a half hour later, when everybody was fucking hungry and starving, she had to think about that. But that's the mentality of a lot of these guys out here. They have that, that black woman spirit, the Judite woman spirit. It's action because of emotion without thinking about the consequences. But then when you think about the consequences, it's too late, bitch. You done threw the goddamn drink on the ground. You gonna go out there and take the straw and try to sip it off the ground? These women are out of their fucking mind. They need to be put in their fucking place. Shit is out of hand. It's out of hand. And that's why, Great Millstone has been the only group out there that's known to be hard on the woman. Because it's the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. It got nothing to do with us. Because these fucking women are out of order. They put up on a pedestal. These same bitches are talking about they won't be subject. I ain't gonna be subject to no man. That's all that they teach in religion. You gotta be subject to the man. Well, that's what the Lord said. But that's the same bitch that'll go to a job and do the job exactly how the boss told her to do it, because if not, she's gonna get fired. Salaki for the rent, Fucking ridiculous, man. All right, so we read that Titus 1 and 9. Let's go to Titus 2 and 11. I'm gonna read a couple of verses there. Get ready to close out. Titus chapter 2, verse 11. It says, for the grace of the Most High that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men. Right, that's Yahweh Shai. Teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. Right, because this present world is evil. So we have to have the right tools to be able to be, to be able to be mentally ready to know what's good and what's bad. You're not gonna know that just you're just walking down the street, you just know what's good. No, you have to be taught these things. It says what's going on? So like I haven't been paying attention to the comment board. Somebody on here, I guess. The elder already handled it. It says, looking for that blessed hope, and that's pretty much what it's all about. And the glorious appearing of the great power in our Savior Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. Who's that speaking about? The Israelites. These things speak and exhort and rebuke with all authority. let no man despise thee, because they will despise and they will hate those that rebuke in the gate. Now I had wanted to get into this story here in Maccabees, but you know, we're already 1 hour in, so I'm just gonna read the main point, because it was very prolific. Now this is when Nicanor came to, pretty much he just knew he was gonna get Jake. You know, he was gonna get our forefather, he's gonna destroy him, he's gonna get the victory over Judas Maccabees, and so on and so forth. Well, you got some real demons coming out today, huh? It says, and then the Lord pretty much confounded him. You know, and that's why we keep, you know, well, we don't really keep it, but, you know, it's in here to keep the day of Nicanor. I say the IUIC does keep it, which they're correct on that, you know. And pretty much, as you read through here, you know, the motivation for Jake wasn't in spears and battlements, you know, and armor, in any form of weapon. It was through the words of encouragement that Judas Maccabees gave them. You know, he exhorted them, he encouraged them to be valiant and to fight harder for the Lord and the protection of his holy sanctuary than you would fight for your own family, your wives and your children and all of that. You know, and it was a very motivational, encouraging speech. You know, that it got the men so heated and so inflamed with zeal that they ripped Nicanor and his whole army a new asshole. You know, I forgot how many. Let me see. I forgot how many they killed, but they went through 35,000 men. So they slayed 35,000 men. You know. And that was an exhortation speech, an encouraging, motivational speech, you know, from Judas Maccabees, you know, reminding them and praying to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Lord, the same way you slew this particular king, you know, and you did so and so and such and such. And it said that when they were fighting, it was so much passion in those men and so much zeal from that speech that when they were fighting and they were praying to the Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in their mind at the same time. And that's why you have to have these type of, you know, of things. You know, you have to have the exhortations. You have to have the rebukes, the admonitions, you know, but you also have to have the exhortations. Because you got to know how to break a man down and then build him back up. Because anybody could break somebody down, but can you build them back up after they're broken down? Because sometimes brothers may have to be humiliated, because before honor comes humility. But then from that point on, there has to be a building up too. All right? So let's just read the point. Right, verse 7, and then I'm going to jump around a little bit. It says, but Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai would help him. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty. And so comforting them out of the law, see, not out of your own mind, and the prophets, and withal putting them in mind of the battles that they won afore, he made them more cheerful. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them therewithal the falsehood of the heathen and the breach of the oath. So pretty much there's going to be an onslaught, a great insurrection against those that fear the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we're given the exhortation to Jake out there to get themselves mentally prepared for what's coming. It says, Thus he armed every one of them. Listen good. Thus he armed every one of them. What you going to? Oh, did he what? Did he give them spears? Did he give them, arrows? Did he give them coated mail? Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defensive shields and spears, although they did have that, as with comfortable and good words. And beside that he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. Right? So, you can read the rest. I'm going to just jump down to the point. Verse 17. Thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, and able to stir them up to valor, and encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. And now the temple, the spiritual temple, the house of David, is in danger right now from the heathen they're about to make their final move. But the Lord is going to stomp them out like a roach. Yahweh Shem Shai is going to stomp them out like a roach. And that's where you see the bullshit going on, with different camps showing guns and, all this stuff, because they're trying to build a case against us to justify them coming against us, because they know they have nothing else. And that's what they do, false flags. So that's why you had the news about this guy. He was a former black Hebrew Israelite. This guy happened to walk past a Hebrew Israelite camp and just put his hand up and said hello. And thus, he did so and so and such and killed this many. It's a demonization, because the people are getting ready, or they're getting ready, to make their move. These devils are very devious. Psalms 59 and 19, and we'll close it here. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So when they're military and they do what they got to do, that's when the Lord is going to checkmate them. And that's why they're pushing the MO to the TB, which is the C to the H to the I to the P, to the max right now. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. There's going to be more persecution. It's going to get harder. It's going to get vicious. But there is hope. And that's what these lessons are for. To give the hope and, give the answers and the things to do when all hell breaks loose. All we could do is trust in Yahweh Shem Shai, pray to Yahweh Shem Shai, and in the hopes that he will deliver us when all hell breaks loose. He said, my servant shall eat. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified, and you few sisters. And to the next time I say, Shalom.